right, so hope you're having a wonderful day. This is Meal Prep 101. This is the part 2. If you haven't watched part 1, I would probably go do that first, then come back here. But our premise in today is going to be about the how in meal prep, the mechanics of actually putting it in practice. So in point 1, I focused on the whys, the benefits of meal prep, how it's really going to be helpful to you, especially if you're someone who's focusing in on their weight loss journey, their healthy life journey. Like maybe you're at the weight that you want to be, but you want to be healthier. Like the successful people in the world are always looking kind of in a gamification, if you will, of how they can make their health better, because as cliche as it sounds, your health is your wealth. And that is what we're going to be talking about today, of actually executing the premise of our process for meal prep. So the first thing out the gate when it comes to your meal prep is actually having the tools to be successful. So you can choose to be as granular as you like or what you have available. Don't feel that you have to go rush out and buy things, or that you need a lot of money to meal prep. You can use what you have on hand. I'm just going to share the things that have worked for me, and I will also share like my progression, because it hasn't always been at the level of where I am now. You're probably looking at me like, what is this girl about meal prep? She's clearly chunky. I've lost 100 pounds over the last 10 years, and I've lost it and I've regained. Now, because I have regained, the confidence I have is really pretty high, because I know what I can do. I know what I can do when I'm focused and when I'm driven and when I'm putting myself in what I call discipline, structure, and that's going to be consistent and predictability. So I'm going to share the things that have worked for me. I'm not perfect. No one who's walking this earth is. However, I definitely have had success, and I want to share that with you. So first things out the gate, things I feel like everybody should have on hand. First off is going to be some measuring cups and spoons. Like these are really, really important. Reason is because when you start using items like say store-bought items, you want to be careful and mindful about how much you're using. And then when it gets to actually measuring out your portions, these are going to come in handy, because it's one thing to say, oh, I ate a cup of whatever, a cup of rice. A cup of rice is actually a lot and is extremely calorie dense. So maybe, a better portion is say maybe a half a cup or something. But knowing how much you're using is extremely helpful. Next things of measuring is going to be this beautiful scale. There is a part that I do kind of want to share about the scale, and I share it not to be scary, but just to be full transparency. If you're someone who has a tendency to fixate, the scale may not be something you want to do immediately. And the reason for that, when I lost 100 pounds, there was a point where I was pretty much carrying this scale with me everywhere I went. Like I wouldn't eat anything unless I had to put it on the scale and measured it. Data and metrics is really, really great. Like I love it. I like the numbers. I like to be able to see where I'm trending, where I can improve on. But you have to know yourself, and you have to know maybe if you had an eating disorder in the past, or have tendencies to just get really fixated on things to where you are not able to give yourself grace. Measuring items may not be the best, or you might start out measuring, and after a while you kind of get a feel of like what your amount should be, and you can kind of phase this out. But if you're someone who doesn't have that issue, then great. This would be very beneficial. I've had this for probably, 10 plus years. Like, got it at Target. This is when I really didn't have a bunch of money, but got this, and it really was helpful to know what I was eyeballing. How much really is it? Like maybe I'm thinking I'm eating enough protein, But then I put this on there. Oh, I'm only eating like 2 ounces of protein. That's probably why I'm not full very often. Like, it helps you to know and dial into where you are. But don't be like me, carrying a nerd. I was actually had a set of measuring cups for work and measuring spoons, and I was carrying this in my purse. Don't be like me. You don't have to do that. It's serious, but not that serious. But be kind with yourself. But having this is going to be helpful. Last thing that I think that's extremely extreme, well, it's few other items, but that I actually that I'm having on hand is going to be like actual glass storage containers. Now, before you get to me and say, oh, well, I have plastic. Plastic is cool, and if that's what you have, use what you have. But I find with plastic, especially if you have anything greasy or oily or like spaghetti tomato sauce, it stains your plastic, so it itches into this plastic, never able to get clean again. When you heat up plastic containers, it releases fumes or some sort of chemical from the plastic breakdown into the food. And especially my women, black women, because that's who's here, please be mindful of that, because we have enough stressors in our life. We don't need to add additional toxins to our bodies. So yes, the glass has a plastic top on it, but you just pop it off, put it in a microwave or put it on your plate, and you're good to go. But these are great for storing. I find that my food lasts a lot longer, so fruits last a lot longer if I chop them up, put them in one of these containers, or even just my other meals. They just taste better. And when your food tastes better, you actually want to eat it. The worst thing is to meal prep and then your food tastes gross. And then now you're out in the wild, because now you got to go fix something and think about what you want to fix. So using those will be very helpful. I've had these containers for probably, again, 10 years. Only thing that I have actually purchased recently because of 10 years of wear and tear of plastic was actually just the plastic. These are Pyrex storage containers. I went to their site and was able to get replacements for like a couple of bucks, and we're good as new. Like, I mean, it's beautiful. So I really like them. These kind that have the little snappers, I love using these for when I was going to an office, because I knew that it was going to stay in. Like, I knew nothing was going to drip out on the sides. We don't want that. So especially if you're on a train or something, the last thing you want to do is open your bag and your lunch is all over your laptop. So these are really, really great, but I really can't speak highly enough of these. Definitely very helpful. Another item that you should have on hand for your meal prep is going to be seasonings. I know that there are certain people out there who actually don't season their food, and I'm very perplexed about that. Like, I really just like want to talk to the manager about this, because I don't understand how one could operate like that. But there are people out there who don't have seasonings. It just boggles my mind, because I have been cooking for a very long time. That's not a household that I can be in. But make sure you have seasonings, spices, things like that to have on hand. It helps you to not have to lean on sauces and condiments. So people will have the tendency, like when they go out to fast food, you're constantly like, oh, I need some sauce, I need some sauce. Because what you're eating doesn't have really much flavor to it on its own. And so you have to add that sauce. And with those sauces, you know, like your Chick-fil-A sauce, Polynesian, all those, there's sugars and carbs that you're adding to that meal that you're probably not factoring into your actual mechanics of your macros. Not going to get into that today, because that's a whole scam, the whole thing there. It's a lot. But you have to really like know what you're eating, getting into that. So make sure that you're using spices, herbs. If you can do fresh herbs, that's just wonderful. And spices, it just makes a piece of chicken breast come alive, because you can do so many things with that said chicken breast. It can be fajita. It can be just a nice savory baked piece of chicken, or like a garlic herb encrusted chicken. Like, it can do what you want it to do. If you're someone who has a international palate, like, get creative. Get with those herbs and spices. That also is going to help you stay focused in wanting to do your meal prep, because you're looking forward to your meal. Like, ooh, oh, today's I don't know, teriyaki day. Awesome. If that's your thing, then great. You're going to be more inclined to eat what you have cooked and prepared, therefore staying on track. Let's see. When it comes to the actual cooking of your items, when I cook, I have the tendency to use a neutral flavoring oil. So I use avocado oil a lot. I know some people have the tendency to think that I think it's olive oil that is like the most superior oil to use for cooking. However, do your homework, do your research. Olive oil is good. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good nutrients that come in it, but when it cooks up, it's actually eroding. Like, it doesn't have a high smoke point, and with that high smoke point, or doesn't have that high smoke point, it's breaking the oil down, so it's corroding. And if it's corroding and you're cooking it, that means that corrosion is getting into your food. It took me some years to actually like really learn that and understand. So when I use olive oil, it's more so as a finishing oil. So if I'm going to use it for maybe glossing over some fish, or if I made a salad dressing, because you can make your own with olive oil, lemon juice, some nice herbs, make your nice little vinaigrette sort of thing. That is what I use olive oil for, not so much for cooking. My baby, my love is some avocado oil. Like, I really love how it tastes, or how it cooks and how it works, because it doesn't give you a flavor. Like, there's not a heavy flavoring in it. But you can try some other oils, but look for oils that have a high smoke point, so that way you know the oils are not breaking down while you're cooking and passing that over into your food. Another way to make your food interesting for meal prep, because I think when people think meal prep, they think the bro method. And so when I think of the bro method, that is think of your gym dwelling dude, like your meathead type of guy. No offense to your guy watching this, but think of those dudes, like the dudes that like literally live in a tank top and some shorts, workout shorts all the time, and have their gym bag and have their whey protein and their energy supplements on them. And in their gym bag, they have like their containers, probably plastic though, and they have chicken breast, which is like bland, plain, gross, brown rice and broccoli. Or maybe they jazzed it up and they did some tilapia, brown rice and broccoli. Like, that is their meal. I only would go that route if I were someone who was in, say, a fitness competition, and I really needed to ensure predictability and consistent in order to produce a set result. When you are in that sort of level, then yes, you probably will have to do some real blah meals, because you got to have a certain amount and everything has to hit the macros. But if you're an average person, everyday lady, please jazz it up, make it festive. It makes you happier. I'm one that loves to pan sear my food, so today I'm meal prepping. That's why I'm in my kitchen. And when I meal prep, I like to do, like, if I'm going to do chicken breast, I like to pan sear it first and then throw it in the oven. I'm not a fried person. Like, I don't fry in my house. I hate the smell. But I do enjoy having that crispiness. Like, I miss that crispy, you know. I was born and raised in a very low income home. So fried chicken was definitely a meal that was inconsistent. And so you get, you know, it's good, you know, and so you want that, but you don't necessarily want the health issues that come with eating such a heavy load of greasy items to the heart, to the body, and to the organs. So best thing for me has been pan searing it. I use my avocado oil, or I may mix avocado oil with a little bit of my vegan butter, put those together, and it just makes it nice and crispy and delicious, and my meat tastes really good throughout the week. And I'm also making today some ground turkey. So all I'm going to do with the ground turkey is just season it, which I already have actually. Season it up. I'm leaving it in a container. And what I will do every day is when I get ready for dinner, make a patty, throw it on the stove. We're good to go. Now, you can go all out and cook up every ounce of meat that you're going to use for the week. You can go even further by measuring out every single meal. Like I used to have a whole bunch more of these, and I would measure out for the whole week every meal that I was going to touch, especially when I was going out to work. This is helpful. So if I'm all grudgingly sleepy in the morning, I could get up knowing I have food for the day. So I get up, have awake, have not, and while my Keurig is going, I'm pulling out my yogurt, I'm pulling out my granola that's already pre-packaged, I'm pulling out my lunch, and boom, I have food. It's in my bag. I might go have my coffee, start to become alive, and put on my makeup and get ready for my day. Took seconds. But when you're someone who's having to like think about it, for me with my life and just how my mind works, I actually get really anxious about having to make decisions about like food, especially when I'm focused on my goals of weight loss. It makes it very, very hard. So for me to be able to have everything laid out, it's beautiful. It just makes things so much better, and it allows me to be present in my life and to do the things that I want to do. Meal prep is what you make of it. It's going to benefit you in the long run on how you do things. I feel like you have to start where you are, and at first it may not feel really great. You may get blah. One other thing, another tip that you can also do is if you're going to say make your items, sometimes I'll make enough of both items to where I can interchange. So maybe you don't want to eat the same thing for lunch every single time. Switch it up. Like I may do, if I was going to do say spaghetti or something for lunch and I was going to do tacos for dinner, I could take a pack of ground turkey, half in it, do half spaghetti, half tacos, boom, 2 different entrees. I can swap whichever one I'm wanting for that day, for that time, lunch or dinner, and I'm happy. I know that I have food. I know that it tastes good, like it's good for you, like all of those things. Help yourself to help you get to where you want to be. It's not difficult. Will it take some effort? Yes. But is it hard? No. It doesn't have to be hard. We make things hard. Human nature complexes things that don't need to be complexed. So ensure that you are doing all that you can to make your life better, because when you make your life better, you make those improvements, you'll have more energy, and when you have more energy to do, you have more creativity, and then the sky's the limit of what you can do for your life and the world around you. So if these tips were helpful to you, leave that in the comments section. Give this video a thumbs up. Now, if you're someone who's not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I create new content. And if you have ideas or thoughts of other videos that you would like me to cover, leave that in the comments. Would love, love, love to create content that again is beneficial, helpful for you to make your life great. Until next time, make sure you're keeping it cute.